Hello everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Pieces Pat Paints. I'm Pat. I paint pieces. I paint them live. I paint them when you're watching. So it's like, I guess not necessarily just live. So like whenever you click on the video. Anyway, we have been moving along quite quickly actually now that we have some ideas on what colors our color scheme is and all that stuff. We made some hard decisions and we've started kind of moving on. I did go ahead and add a little bit of wash back to this area here. I really think that's going to help us out and making this stone continue to have that two-tone effect we were going for, but not washing it out so much because we didn't want that. Okay, so we got to put a wash on this to get it to match up with these. We're gonna go ahead and come back and maybe do a little bit of touch up on some of these handles, although they really don't look like they need a lot. They're in pretty great shape. So we're gonna do a little bit of that, and then we're gonna attach this leg. Our rusty blades definitely came out looking like they've got some rust on them, which is great. So our mix of our using the gritty wash with a little bit of that burnt sienna has definitely given us a little bit of a rusty look. Now if we wanted to add more of like that full-on rusted out look like you'd get from old cars that are sitting in the junkyard or something like that, we would add some more things to the paints themselves. And we'll probably do something like that soon. I didn't feel like it was necessary for this little project though. So we got that. Anyway, that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to turn on some music and we're going to get rocking and rolling. Thanks for coming by, for anybody who does make it by. And I hope you enjoy the show. If you did enjoy the show, give me the proverbial like and subscribe and all that goodness. You know how if you've been on YouTube long enough, you know how this goes. And if not, welcome to YouTube. This is how it goes. Anyway, here we go. Alright, so I'm going to pull off our lid to our wet palette, which we're definitely replacing after today. We're going to go ahead and set up a new one for next week. A lot of these paints are starting to dry out on us a little bit, and we got to kind of move in another direction. I don't know that we're going to need all these paints when we come back. We might be able to get rid of some of them too, so that's good. This is also like our last chance to kind of hit up anything that maybe we missed. That is definitely a little bit of that moss right there. So I'm going to pick that out real quick. I don't even think we're going to see that because I think that blanket covers this up, but there it is anyway. Doing a little bit more on those pieces. Again, a lot of this is going to get covered up. But we definitely want to get all our finishing touches done on this guy today, so we can move in tomorrow without having to worry too much about it. This actually looks like this is supposed to be part of the rock. Something in here. Just doing a little touch up there to kind of help get that back looking like it should have. When we dry brushed it, we definitely obscured some of that detail with the paint itself. So bringing it back like that is a great way to do it. And we can accentuate some of these tops a little bit more. And we'll add a little bit more wash here in a second too. Again, I'm just being really kind of random, kind of working my way through that. Alright. Just a little bit more under here. And I like kind of working through one color and then moving over to the other one. If I can. That's not always how it goes, but I like to try and, if I'm to these points where I'm finishing up and doing the last parts of something, coming back and kind of adding things on a little bit like this is the way to go. And then just do it all at once and then go to the next thing and readjust all that, whatever that adjustment has to be. So we'll come back and we'll do all the blue on the sword hilts next. Now this is under her boot. I really don't know that we're going to see any of this. I'll do it anyway. Now, if we felt like we had gotten a little carried away with the light green, we could always come back and throw a wash of the sap green back over top of it. And you'll be able to kind of reset it. You'd only get to do that a couple times, though, before you start to you're getting too many layers of paint, and you won't get out. You can't get away from that one. Once it's got too much paint on it, you just got to strip it. Really the only way to kind of take care of that. Yeah, that's looking nice, right? Okay. On there. It's like white. Working that down just a little bit. I don't know what that is. There we go. That'll do. Alright. And this is that Payne's Gray. I'm very fond of this color. You watch this channel too long and you'll learn that. To use it on a lot of things. I like it because it's kind of like a blue gray. It's very dark. Almost like a blue-black in a way. And it works great for a lot of different kinds of things. Stuff like this is a good one. If you don't want to paint it just solid black, you know, you have another option. And now I'm just going through in any places where maybe I got a little carried away with bronze. I'm trying to get it cleaned up. Luckily we don't have too many of them. Most of them are pretty non-obvious. Couple places where maybe we got a little carried away with the Naples yellow for our bandages. But for the most part, we're in pretty decent shape here. And that ought to be that. Okay. I really like how those turned out. Alright, so I gotta take a deep breath. I gotta think for just a second on which way I want to put this together. This seems like we could just glue it down, and then if we have to, we'll put in the gap and fill that gap back together. Backfill the gap. And so I'm going to go with glue on the inside of these holes. One of the things I love about this gel is it kind of will sit. It's kind of going to sit in the hole for us, maybe. Hopefully you can see that. And it sits on the edges of this hole. Yeah, you can see it. You can kind of see where it's wet. Both sides. Okay. Alright, now that's been sealed all the way back up. I'm going to place this foot down first. And set this in. Oop. And come down onto our pen. We have a pen here that it slides down into, and it's already nice and snug. Alright, so maybe we'll put a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of glue here, just to kind of give us some sort of maybe connection. So I was wondering whether or not I was even going to glue it, and now I've decided I am. I don't want to overdo it because we don't want a bunch of glue squirting out the edges. Okay, here we go. Put her all together so we can get it set properly. Ooh, be careful, that thing's heavy. Goodness. So I think she's leaning forward slightly. Maybe not. It's so hard to tell. Yeah, because that's going to lift that up off of there. It'll be fine. Okay. Alright, that's pretty good. That's set up for a little bit longer before we mess with it. Okay, so we got that part done pretty quickly, honestly. Okay, so we definitely are going to need a touch of milliput, kind of like Lilliput. Where the little fusions with. Okay. Milliput's pretty easy. Again, 1-to-1. If you don't, if you've never put this stuff together. Like I said, 1-to-1. One part, one color, one part the other color. It's like a 2-stage. Oh, I guess it's like a clay or epoxy, or it is kind of sticky. I don't know that I'd necessarily call it an epoxy though, because it doesn't really glue things together. So don't rely on, like, you can't rely on Milliput and green stuff to like hold stuff together, except for itself. Like, it will hold itself together really well. But don't like rely on it to be an adhesive, because it's not. Neither one of those are designed to be adhesives in and of themselves. I learned that the hard way when I was much younger. Alright, there we go. We made our famous snake. I'm really good at making these. I've been making them for a long time. I know that you have made snakes before as well. And if you haven't, you should definitely try. And if you haven't done it in a while, you should do it again. It is fun. Making snakes is definitely good times. I already see some touch-ups on the back we're going to need to do, just from moving this thing around. I really still think that was so weird how they went in there like that. It felt like it was wrong, but I couldn't get them to go in there another way. It feels like it was wrong. Maybe it was designed wrong or printed wrong. Or maybe I'm wrong somehow, and I just couldn't figure it out, but it felt wrong. Not wrong enough for me to, like, completely change it, but wrong enough where I was like, it made me question myself. Now the next one in this series, now that we're getting closer to the end of this one, we can start kind of talking about the next one. The next one in this series is a character called Godfrey, I believe. Which, he's really cool. He's like, I don't know, like some sort of, he got like some sort of lion magic or enchanted cloak or something. I don't know. He's got like this giant lion on his back. And it looks, I mean, honestly, it looks really cool. All these characters look really cool. This game is super difficult. From what my son said, it's not the most difficult of this particular studio's games, but I'm not always down with a super hard game. But some people, if you're a video gamer, man, I can see the allure there. I like a good challenge, so if you're a gamer, challenges that's what you crave. Totally go for it. Okay. I'm trying to get that all set in there really well. We'll have to do some repainting. But that is all right. She sits down on this base a lot better now too. And hopefully we don't have to worry too much about counterweight if we got it set right. Hopefully it'll balance itself out, because it was definitely a little bit heavy, back heavy. It was trying to fall out the back. Oh, yeah. Okay, alright, now that's reattached. We gotta let that harden up so that stuff is all done skidoodles for there. Makes me happy. Okay. Well, what do we do next? We can work on this cloak. We can get this thing done. Let's get that done real quick. And then we'll move on to the cloak. Because this is a pretty easy thing to do. We just gotta drop a wash on it and then some blood. Super easy. Don't let it pool anywhere you don't want it to pool up. Just kind of move it over the deal. It's when you thin it out right, it just pops right down into the gaps for you. Makes your life easy. And make sure you're good and dry before you do this, because it will. If it isn't dry, it'll rub it off. You don't want that. It'll make you mad. I mean, big mad. I get mad about it. Like, oh god, that rush. Okay. Okay. We can get darker on this side. Not that big a deal. It's the underside, so if it gets a little bit darker than the other one, that's good. That's fine. Works for us. Help us get that shading going. You don't want to necessarily, turn it brown, like full on umber brown, but we do want it to be a darker brown. It is on the, after all, it is on the ground. Alright, now we let that dry. Let that dry, and then we'll put some blood on it later. That one we might be able to like make a bit of it like flicking on there for fun. It's wide enough surface we might be able to get away with that. That'd be funny to do. That would be a fun thing. Alright, so now we're gonna move on to this and get back to work on doing this. Now we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back and do all this, so I'm not worried about it getting red now. It's kale. Yes? Did you need something? No. He's like in the other room. I don't know why he called me. You just want to see if it worked? I think he butt dialed me. He hasn't had a phone for very long, so it's, learning curve. Try to make sure the kids are aware of things well enough to own one of those devices. It's a scary world out there. Really easy for some young folks to get caught up in the wrong thing, the wrong side of stuff. Uh-oh. I don't know what I do with that crimson. I'll put it right here. Probably need a little more than that. That'll do it. And again, I like using this old beater to do this. I can kind of be rough with the brush, and I don't have to care so much. It's already kind of beat up, so, you know, making sure all this is done properly is pretty easy. Alright. Kind of trying to be a little methodical here, working my way in rows down the thing, mainly just so I can make sure I don't miss anything. I love this tree on the back. At least I think it's a tree. I think it's supposed to be this Erd tree that seems to be integral to the plot. I'm cracking every time I move. It seems like I played soccer with my middle boys team yesterday. It was Parents versus Kids Day. Maybe the very last Parents versus Kids Day for me. I don't know. I said that yesterday, and then one of our friends was like, "Nah, I'm gonna make you do it," and I was like, "Yo, really?" So. I think she was being funny, but you never can tell. Although, honestly, you know, I'd just keep playing soccer if I could. Just worry about one of these days I'm gonna, you know, break my leg or something. I'm gonna get a little too old for it. But it was fun. I had a great time. Definitely sore today from it, which, you know, is kind of awesome. Especially now that we know I can... I got a little bit of an idea of what's going on with my breathing and coughing and all that. So the doctor like, well, if you pass out, the thing that's going on with you, you're just gonna start breathing again. You'll pass out and your body will stop spasming and you'll be breathing again. And I was like, oh, so I take that to mean go until you pass out. And that's what I tried to do yesterday, although I didn't actually pass out. Unfortunately, my knee started acting up and I had to like chill out and play goalie for a second, because I was putting a little too much pressure on it. I got an extra 20 pounds, 50 pounds I'm lugging around I don't need. Somewhere in that vicinity, 20 to 50. If I could lose 20, that'd be great, but 50 would be ideal. And that's the next step. Got the homestead going. Got the studio going. And now we got some answers from the DAC. Heck yeah. That's the good stuff. What a good, this week started out like absolutely awful and turned out to be not so bad by the end of it. Still rough. It was still rough. Don't get me wrong. But all's well that ends well, I suppose, right? Just covering my bases here at this point, making sure I got it all. Get these edges. I'm still thinking we're gonna need kind of like something in that back to push it where it's supposed to be. Alright, cloak is done. We do need to, this is something I didn't do, I should have done earlier, was this. We need to put some of our gritty right here. We can bring this up the way it's supposed to be. Even on the chains a little bit here too. Yeah, that's super helpful. It's those little things sometimes that really help make things stand out. And if you do all the little things right, everything else usually falls in line for you. I do think I'm going to do a little bit more work on this cloak. Or the bottom of her dress, I mean. Looks like there needs to be just a little bit more tone there, maybe. Okay, so let's see. Let me think for just a moment. Alright, so a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit more of that. There we go. A little bit of that. There we go. Just a touch of this too. Yeah. A little bit of that Naples yellow. That's what we're looking for. Yes. Way too much. Yeah, I like that. That's gonna look nice. You can do a little bit here on this inside too. Yeah. That's kind of fun. Haven't used this big one till this project. I have one even bigger than this too. I'm excited to get a chance to use that really big one. I think we're gonna need a big thing to do it though. And now it looks like I have a giant like weird bruise. I always do that with my dry brushing. I always like brush it on me. I don't know what that's about, but it's definitely a thing I do. Alright, so we're gonna take off a little bit of that excess on here. Maybe even shine it. Maybe we'll take it all the way down. I think I want to come back with just a little bit of gold. If it's still alive enough to do it. Yeah, we're still good. Barely. This is a fun one since this particular part of her costume isn't actually a part of the original design. And like I was saying the other day, they do that for a couple different reasons. You might have been trying to break copyright. So if you add enough things to it, it's not the original sculpt, so you don't actually have to pay them anything. So, you know, that might be what they're doing. Might not. Okay. Oh my goodness, we get to glue this guy on today. Oh my. We're cruising now, children, boys and girls, friends and neighbors. Okay. Together at last. Should I wait until I No, that's super easy to paint. We should be okay. I'd worry if I was trying to paint like down onto something that was like that, where we're just painting right in there. Be okay. I'll stop looking down her. Okay. Now it's down on there. Alright. Next thing we gotta do is we'll get this cloak finished up. And then we've got to get it to where it's gonna sit on there like so. Really feels like maybe it got misshaped somehow, because there's a whole mess of stuff missing right, you can't see it, right in here. You can see there's a massive gap, and that's not good. We don't actually want that gap there like that. There's the one I was messing with earlier. It's still good. Where'd it go? It hardened up already. Oh, well. So we'll have to do that when we'll get this thing fixed, or get this thing finished painted, and get the cloak painted up, and then we'll get the rest of, we'll get it put on there and set properly. Okay. So this is done. I could probably use another. That would look better. Nice and pretty dark. Alrighty. Okay. Well. Let me think. That's gonna have to set up, that's gotta dry, cloak's gotta dry. I guess we could start working on this arm. That base coat on there at the very least, right? Make sure you keep this super thin. There's a lot of these little cracks and things in our arm. It's got the same scarlet blood thing the other one does. Crimson fever or whatever they're calling it. Alright, so where's that? Both of these arms down with a quickness. Have this stuff done and over with. I'm worried about that. These pins have all been so thin and small that they're all kind of want to break. This one's already got a pin in his wrist. A real pin, a replacement pin, metal. That's the only disadvantage to resin, really, in my opinion, is because you can deal with the little pock marks that it leaves, and you can a lot of that other stuff you can kind of get around, but it's fragile and it's brittle, and that causes a lot of issues. I don't know if I remember right. This whole thing is the same color. The blade and the hand and everything. Now there's some sort of glow in these runes, so I think I'm gonna try and see if we can't put that back in there. And we'll show you how to do that, because that'll look cool. And it's just an ink trick. It's super easy. Okay, got to let that dry for a second. Just need a tiny little bit of this paint to finish that sword side, and then we'll deal with the rest of it when we come back next week, since we are almost done for today. Okay. Alright, that part's done, that part's done. And we're at 52 minutes. I don't want to get started on anything else just yet. We're going to let all this stuff dry. We're going to come back next week and we're going to knock the rest of this stuff out. But we did got a long way today, honestly. Towards finale, anyway. Finally made my decision on putting a little accent on the purple, and we did, and I think it looks fabulous. Maybe just a little bit of a touch up down here at the very bottom. Go ahead and do that while I see it. There we go. That ought to help. Uneven go. Just a tiny little bit of white over the top of this. And that white's been kind of infused a little bit with the purple. Yeah, I really think I want to bring this up a little bit more. Because her other part of her dress is so light, and then in the game, it almost looks like dirty white. It didn't even really look like purple except for at certain angles. Yeah, that's even better. That's even better. Yeah, now the cloth is starting to look like they match. Yeah. Okay, so that's looking great. We're up. We're gonna have to finish letting this dry out, and then we'll be able to do that. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna stop messing with it, and I'm gonna just let you guys go, and we'll be back on Monday. Same time, same channel, doing the same thing. Painting stuff. My name's Pat, and this is Pieces Pat Paints. Thank you to everybody who came by. Had a few numbers on the counter. Thanks for all the folks that come by later, and you guys have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Bye.